Hey yo, we put free money where the mic is. He got it on lock like Rikers. Green rebates get you paid, so a lot of people like us. Money Talks Podcast, watch it on all your devices. Woo! Welcome back to the Money Talks Podcast. This is a historical moment because you're actually the first woman that I've interviewed. I just thought to myself, there have only been men. Actually, there have only been...
Welcome to cannabis. There's only men in a men's eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very
Welcome
offensive
to my world.
of me. And so we just met 2 minutes ago,
yeah.
and I did zero research.
I like it.
I'm going to be transparent.
Which is great.
So what brings you to Lucky Leaf?
This is my home base. I am Kat. I live in Minnesota. What brought me to Lucky Leaf is I am very fortunate that the light company that has sponsored my grows for the last decade decided to come here. So I said, since I'm here, I might as well hook you guys up and get you guys a booth and represent Aztec for them.
I love it.
But yeah, so all my plants have always been underneath those lights. You ever bought any Gorilla Glue 4 seeds? They always came off of Aztec lighting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into cannabis in the first place? Tell me about your childhood. Like, what was that moment when you first used cannabis that you maybe said, okay?
Well, when I was really young, I had 3 older brothers, and I was the only girl. So I was kind of picked on, right? It's like, hey, let's try this, let's try that. Mm-hmm. So my brother was a Grateful Dead, followed that, dope dealer, all that. So I would just be his little thing. So I would sell oregano to the football players.
Oregano.
Fake
weed. You're lying.
No.
And they smoked oregano?
Oh yeah, and they'd be like, dude, this is great.
You're lying.
Yeah. And then the good people would always get this up underneath my brother's Playboy.
Oh, the ones who were nice to you.
So that was my first because I'm like 49. I'm almost 50.
You look great.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
So then from there, in 94, I lived in here. I got on I-90, dropped my ass off in Seattle, did the hemp days back there, met some really cool people, went to California, met some even cooler people,
Yes.
started going to some Emerald Cups and San Bernardino days and all that, hooked up with a couple breeders. We started a company called GG Strains. Won a couple of High Times Cups.
Not to brag or anything.
Right. No, I was very fortunate to work with some amazing fucking people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, my business partner and my best friend passed away in 2020.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, it's Josie Wales, the creator of Gorilla Glue 4.
R.I.P. Well, when did you first decide that you wanted to do this professionally?
Well, I've always kind of had a front. As a woman in this industry, it absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
So I would always in Minnesota be a front, like I was a PTO mom or an at-home mom, and I owned a marketing firm. Because behind that, I was selling Gorilla Glue seeds in my basement. So, but I've always been in it.
Got
Like
it.
my grandpa was a bootlegger. He'd go to St. Cloud, Minnesota, grab the cannabis. He would grab the moonshine, go down to Mankato, 2 bits of swig and 2 bits of puff. So it's kind of in my blood.
So how old were you when you went to... You drove to Seattle, drove to Washington. What were you doing there, and how old were you?
I was in the .com days. Actually, I was the marketing director for IEG in Seattle.
What's that?
The company that sold the Pam and Tommy video.
No way!
Yeah!
Oh my God, I watched the documentary on
Yeah.
that. You were there during that time?
I was.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Did you get in trouble, or?
No, why would we get in trouble?
Well, does Pamela Anderson?
we got sued a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that was a great marketing play.
Getting sued is great.
Right. So when we
PR.
got sued back in cannabis, when we got sued by the Gorilla Glue Adhesive Company, it was, it was bad for us, but it was good for publicity.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So you're working for the company that distributed, which was, they call it the first ever viral video.
Correct.
It's Pam
Yes.
and Tommy.
Yes.
And you were working for the company that distributed it?
Yep.
Wow. What was the energy like in the office?
We had a lot of fun. Again, being hard woman, it was like, I would be like, I'm not talent. I was a businesswoman.
Right.
We have Viagra Fridays.
What? Viagra Fridays?
Yeah.
Where like every dude is just popping
Everybody
Viagra?
in the office.
And then what happens?
I would go to my own office and let the guys do whatever they wanted.
That is the weirdest.
I mean,
So just a bunch of hard dudes in an office and the women just hiding?
well, there's not a lot of women that
Okay.
actually worked in the corporate office of it. A lot of them were our talent.
That is amazing. What did you think of the documentary when you saw it?
I haven't watched it.
Is it?
I was part of it. They talked to me about, different things and analogies and all that good stuff.
Wow.
But I haven't actually watched it.
So that when you're working for that company, are you doing cannabis as well? Are you?
I did a lot of underground things.
Cool.
Yep, I would hit I-5 and go all the way down and all the way back up.
So when did you kind of start working in cannabis legally or on the books?
When I came out of the canna closet, so to speak,
Yeah.
is
I like
when
that term.
GG Strains decided to start leasing our genetics to like actual cultivators. And that's when I worked with Josie on trying to figure out how can we have IP and how can we say, okay, if you want to be a cultivator, like Fat Panda in Washington, they were the first ones to ever actually give us royalties for our hard work. And so that is how I didn't really have a choice but to come out and just, this is what I do.
Right.
So we did a lot of that. We did a lot of breeding. We did a lot of being GG. And then when Don passed away in 2020, I didn't want to take the legacy that him and I had together and ride his coattail, so to speak. So as my family lives here in Minnesota, I would go to Michigan every week, every other week. So I had 1 week here, 1 week there. And I learned operations. I actually learned how the hard work works. I learned how to make gummies. I learned metric. I learned leaf link. I learned them all. And learned how to actually be an operator and not a traditional sell the dime bag.
So when you first started learning operations, what were some of the biggest mistakes or the biggest like early failures that kind of
I mean, there's thousands. There's thousands in every day. And the thing with an evolving industry, you're always going to fail because there's no rules that are set in place. Or if you change the rules, they change the rules. Your failure is it a bag change? Is it, what is it going to be? The biggest thing was following those credentials of making sure that when the CRA, the OCM, whatever OMA comes through, that you have everything that they want in place. So you have an industry that's never followed rules. We never even paid taxes. And then all of a sudden we have to say, oh shit, you want me to pay taxes and you actually want me to follow the rules?
But the rules are like, there's too many rules and then they're confusing and they change all the time.
All the time. Well, I mean, in Michigan, we would wake up every morning, we'd get a memo from CRA, and it would be like, package change. Well, I just spent $100,000 on that package. Now it's out the door, and I got 24 hours to get new packages.
Why are they trying to just discourage people to stop growing? Like, why?
You're asking people to run an industry that they've never worked in.
Right.
So they're making up the rules as they go. And we just have to follow because to their eyes, we're just a bunch of illegal drug dealers that are stupid. So they're like, oh, they're doing good, let's change it on them. Or they just don't know. I mean, in all honesty, they don't know.
Yeah.
They really don't.
They're making it up.
You have regulators that are coming in and making it up as they go. I mean, Minnesota's complete flop. It is the biggest flop.
Elaborate on that. How is it? Why is it a flop, you think?
Again, the wheel has already been invented and redone over and over. Minnesota came into this and said, we're going to do it our way. They have nobody ever experienced at the OCM, nobody in the experience actually front running that's actually ran an operation that is there to educate them. So they're going off of a lobbyist telling them, do this because my customer needs that. In return, they're just not building anything.
Wow.
And they built this market so they wouldn't get sued. And they got sued.
Yeah. Damn. You touched on something earlier that I want to talk about. Being a woman, like,
it sucks.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges being a woman in cannabis?
People always say, "Dude, you're cat." Like, it's fucking cat, and I get a lot of that. But if I could go sit at a booth, like you could go sit afar from me, and if I'm standing right next to a man, me and you standing right here, and we're over there trying to sell something, they will come to you before they ever come to me. In their opinion, I'm a piece of ass. I'm a pretty face because that is what this society has built for women. And anything, like 420 built the 420 girls. Like what we have placed in cannabis for women is we have put that in their position to wear short skirts and have big boobs.
Or go to the trimming operations and be half naked while you're trimming just to,
Right. And this is probably my 100th trade show. You'll never see me in a skirt. This is how I dress at all times. My knowledge will sell, or my attitude. but it's not my sex.
So do you feel like you have to work twice as hard?
I had to work 4 times as hard.
Jesus.
I went to Tyson's Ranch once for an after-hours party, and I walked in the door, and like all my friends from overseas were there, all these bunch of breeders, and I walked in the door, guys like, all right, talent's upstairs. Mm-hmm. And Amit from Pure Sativa overseas was like, dude, that's Kat. Like, she's not talent.
Yeah.
And they walked me over to the breeder table.
You said not talent?
Not talent. Like I thought,
what do you mean?
When you have those 420 parties, you hire women to be there to make you look good.
Right, the booth babes.
The booth babes, right? So when you had after parties back in the day in Vegas, like at MJ Biz, they always hired girls. So you'd have all these hot girls coming because then people would go to your parties.
Mm-hmm. Is it satisfying proving men wrong?
I mean, it's satisfying, but at the same time, I always find that narcissistic person to try to manipulate that situation at all times.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and I know where my place is. So if somebody doesn't want to listen to me, like half the time my husband will come with me. Mm-hmm. And they'll ask him questions, and he'll be like, you should probably talk to her.
Right.
And so I know that, and I've been groomed enough to know that they're not going to take me seriously until they actually have a conversation with me. And then they'll take me serious.
Right.
Or they'll just want my genetics.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, do you got seeds? Can I get a cut? Can I get that? But from an operation standpoint, being a woman is good because in marketing operations, they always want the woman's opinion. So that's nice. But from a cultivator perspective, nobody's going to ever ask me how to grow. If you and I are sitting next to each other, they're always going to go to you versus me. And some women get upset. I do get upset. But at the end of the day, I know what's going to expect. I've been in here long enough.
And you're confident. Like, you know what the hell you're doing. So if they don't want to believe you, that's on them, and that's not on you. It doesn't take away from what you've learned.
And doing what I've been doing for so long, there's always a hater. In this industry, you're always going to be hated once you get to a certain level. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember back in the day, I used to have so many Instagram wars or IC Mag. That place was crazy.
Instagram wars, just like back and forth.
Breeders between each other, I mean, it's ugly.
Oh.
We just kind of go off on each other, and we realize, okay, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
The more DMs you get of fuck you, means I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
And you just go with it.
Every hater is an accomplishment. You should, like Cat Williams said, if you got 2 haters today, you should try to get 10 haters tomorrow.
Exactly.
So what you've been in the industry for a while, and that's a blessing. Like, you've seen it, you've seen the ups and downs. Has it been a roller coaster? Has it been like just an upward trajectory? Where do you think
it's a complete roller coaster. Once you feel like you've got control, well, not control, that's a horrible word. Once you feel like you have an understanding of what to take place, they change it. Or it's just you got these haters, or you have a batch that fails, or you wake up and something's wrong with your grow. Everything is always evolving and changing. In my eyes as well, I know I'm getting older. There's going to be a younger version of me out there, and that's what people don't realize is there's going to be a you someday. There's going to be a next Capulator someday. There's going to be a next Skittles. Mm-hmm. So we always have to stay on top of our game, but we have to welcome that newcomer. Like, I would do anything to find a mini-me.
Totally.
I would love that, but I've just never been able to find somebody to absorb that knowledge.
Yeah, have you taken on a mentorship role to...
I would love that. And this is the thing with industry. It's like I've been in the seed game for a long time, and we have a saying that the seed game is a seedy business. And this industry is very shady. You don't know who to trust. You don't know at all. I mean, it's just, once you say I'm going to take you here, or if you do, like I have brought a lot of people under my belt and said, hey, do you want to work with me? Do you want to make S1s with me? Do you want to breed? Do you want to do that? 3 months later, they're all of a sudden the breeder. They're all of a sudden better than I am because they're a holder. You've been holding my damn plant. Do you have any idea what that means? You've been sloughing it, you've been pouring water in it, you're throwing some cocoa in there, you're holding my genetics.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they're yours. So having that mentorship is very hard.
Right.
Because you got to find that trust. And it's not there.
What's people who have, because you've obviously had amazing longevity in cannabis, people who have had longevity, what do they all have in common?
Balls. We do. We can get told no and get back up. We can told we're suck, get back up. And you have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You have to have a lot of street smart. a lot of common sense, and then the ability to adapt and change, and then just go. Like everybody, like it's just amazing how everyone's like, oh, Minnesota market. I've been seeing everyone's like, business plans, $5,000 a pound. Oh God, no. That's nice to think you're gonna get that, but we're gonna have the $100 pound. In 2017, there was an article in Oregon. It was a $100 pound.
$100 for a pound?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a
Oh
thing.
yeah. I still
Wow.
have the old High Times magazine when they wrote about it. It's whoever can race to the bottom.
Yeah.
So if I can make a gummy and sell it for $10 a bag, you can come in and sell it for $9.90. And the next guy's going to go in, and there's just going to be a race to the bottom.
Does the quality get compromised as we're racing to the bottom, or?
It does for you and I because we're cannabis connoisseurs.
I'm not.
Okay.
But, yeah.
The main, the consumer out there today is not knowledgeable on cannabis. They look for a THC board. That's it. They don't care. So it's like, what can I get fucked up? It's the boons of cannabis.
It's like it's a binary scale, 1 and 0. It's okay.
They don't know that if this is horrible, non-hand trimmed, it's not organic, it's got salts in it, whatever, they don't have a clue.
Got it.
Like when you buy your soda, you still buy soda, but you have no idea how many ugly things are in that soda.
Yeah.
These consumers are not educated. So a lot of us that are passionate about this plant, we do things off of terpenes and effects, and how can that help in the medicinal standpoint? But our consumers don't want that. So we put a lot of time and energy into things that will never be a return for us, at least in my lifetime. Hopefully in my children's lifetime, they'll be able to see that, because if you look at a liquor, that's evolved. Look at all the breweries and all the different crafts. That will come eventually, but right now we don't have that.
So what are consumers gravitating towards in 2025 the most? What trends have you?
Cheap and get high.
That's it.
What's the coolest rig? Like, how can I consume this and look cool, or how can I consume this and get higher faster? So in Minnesota, I do have a low dose company. And I did it just so I could see what people want in what areas. And the biggest thing is normalizing. So smokables are not very popular here because it's don't do that. I don't do that. But edibles are huge because they can pop a gummy, they can get to their point. And I think it's something that they can feel comfortable with.
Right.
So the Minnesota market also has a great drink. I don't know if you've seen that. Like,
Yeah.
you can go to Quick Trip and you'd be like, I'm going to get myself a THC drink.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere, and it's normalizing. So that to me is exciting because it's a normalization of cannabis. Like,
Got it.
if you go to a liquor or a bar right now, they will have 3 different non-alcoholic drinks, but they also have THC on tap. And that's normalizing. So I think that's where I see it going, is it's not loud, it's not the hype strains, it's how can we normalize this, and then that's the longevity of it.
How connected are you with growers in Minneapolis, and like what's like the overall? How are they feeling? Are they feeling kind of frustrated, impatient?
Honestly, I said this last night at an after party. They were very frustrated, and I said, everything that we've gone through, we deserve it right now. There is so much the cannabis animosity and, the drama. And this plant is a sacred plant. We deserve her. She doesn't deserve us.
Wow.
And until Minnesota can get over the bullshit, she shouldn't be here.
Wow.
She has done so much for us. She has done so much for my family. The moment I try to monetize her, I go into my grow and she's dead.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing. She's a female. Everyone's like, well, how do I grow this? I'm like, give her Epsom salt. All of us women want is to lay in a bath. We want to relax. The minute you piss off a woman, she's gonna hold a grudge. And right now, she's holding a grudge.
There's that much drama in the scene?
It's everybody wants the gold rush. It's the original. Like, I'm the best. I came from Colorado. I was a fucking trimmer, so I'm gonna make $100,000 a year as the head grower. It's like that. Everywhere you go, you're gonna have that.
Do you wish people would collaborate more? Because I was just having a conversation about like, look, if we work together here and see how we could benefit each other, we're all going to win versus stepping on each other's toes.
Right.
So.
Well, I was just on a call with Alaska Thunderfuck last night. Like, how can we collab? What do we want to do? Like, I've collabed with Karma. I've collabed with Serious Seeds, Ed. That is, to me, what's important, is collaboration, working together. But when you do a collab, it's always 50-50. Because the moment you think you're better than me, it's not a collab anymore. We're going to get on each other, and it's like, no, we're doing this for the people.
Yeah.
We're doing this for the plant. And if there's, I get a better percentage because I got more Instagram followers, that's not a collab. That's, trying to pump your dick right now, and we don't need that.
So when you tell, these growers who are frustrated, when you tell them, look, y'all deserve this, how do they...
They didn't like that last thing. But I'm also a mom, so I sometimes get my mama voice on.
Right.
And I tell people like I see it. You will never get pussyfoot around me. I will tell you exactly how I feel. I will tell you exactly what's going down, because that's what you need. If I tell you look really great today and you didn't, that's not accentuating your life.
Right.
If it's just, you have to be honest and have
So
to be
how
real.
do I look today?
You look amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
At
At least you're not wearing, I have this thing, don't ever trust a man in a weed suit.
Oh.
And so your money suit, so that's a whole nother,
It is a little pretentious. My boss is making me wear it, but we give away free money to growers.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you know anything about green rebates, about what we do?
I'm learning more about that. Like I said, I've always grown under Aztec lighting, and now that they want to come to Minnesota, I'm learning how to help people when I'm writing people's applications or helping them build out their grows, learning how that whole process works.
Right.
That's a whole side of growing I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
That, I will tell you what I'm good at, and I'll tell you what I'm bad at. But it's great too. With Minnesota, what I'm seeing, there's not a lot of money in the world right now, okay? So the people that have money can afford these lights. The people that's going for a micro, which is only 5,000 square feet of canopy, you're gonna look max 150, 200 lights, right? If you got 900 watts, you're looking at $1 a watt, you're gonna be paying $900 a light. You're looking at almost $400,000. So getting these rebates is really important, because you're going to get your money back, because everybody puts all this money into their facility and they're already tits up. You're already tits up, and you're not, your price per pound went up here because everything's got, it's got a percentage to come back.
Yeah.
So it's important to have rebates.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so where do you think, a couple more questions, you've crushed it. I really hope you don't come back and say, hey, don't put this online, because this is great. I think this is content that the world needs right now.
Well, it does, and I would love, I always want to start my own podcast
You
and
would
call it
kill
Cat's
it.
Box.
Come on.
Let's just.
Where do I write the check to?
Right. It needs to be real.
Yeah.
There's some damn good breeders out there. They don't. Yesterday I spoke at Lucky Leaf's intro, and they were we were talking about genetics and just the history, and they're like, what's the history of cannabis? And I said, let's say you smoke OG Kush. Do you know all that went behind OG Kush so you could smoke it in 2024, 2025? There's been people hovering those genetics and those clones, running from the popo and doing all the legwork. And these breeders that are collabing and making the best strains today, and they don't get credit. Who gets credit is the dispo. Why don't we have the Michael Jordans of cannabis getting their royalties back? And I've always said, be true to that glue. Be true to that cannabis. And if I ever become rich, I'm going to have an animal sanctuary for one. But the other thing is, I will lobby so there is not a strain name on a jar unless it's been tested to prove that motherfucker's Blue Dream. Because it's not fair to the consumer.
Right.
GG is so good for PTSD. But if you actually are a medicinal patient and you go into a dispensary and you need this, and you get something that's sativa, and you have PTSD, that's the last thing you need. You're getting something that is a counteractive of your body.
Yeah.
So being true to those genetics and being true to her is super important.
Right.
But you walk into these dispensaries. I remember Josie and I went to Vegas. We were always in Vegas, but walked into the dispensary, and they had 6 different Gorilla Glues. 4. GG4 original glue. I'm not really allowed to say that anymore. And I was like, why do you have 4? And they said, well, it sells.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, is it even GG? They don't care. They don't care. It's whatever sells.
I hate capitalism sometimes.
Right.
So the person who created Granddaddy Perp and these notoriously amazing, just these brands that are so synonymous with cannabis.
And I love GP, by the way.
Yeah, so these people, there's no royalties. The guy who created Granddaddy Perp
he's just out there.
But maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he's just.
Well, as somebody that's worked with these breeders for decades, they do want it. I mean, they don't want the clout because the reason they don't want to be in public is their whole life they've been hiding. They've been hiding from the popo. They've been sitting in a closet in the basement because nobody could know what they were doing. So they're not used to that limelight. I remember I took Josie to the first MJ Biz, and he was shaking.
Oh my God.
Like, you mean I can really go in here with weed?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, let's go.
Traumatized.
And they're not used to that. They've been in prison so many times. I mean, knock, knock, the popo's here.
Yeah. Jesus.
I mean, that's how Gigi was born.
That's what you...
The popo came a knocking. We had to move some plants. One hermed on the other. And some people say, hey, that's an accident. I said, so are my kids, but I still get to claim them.
So when you say, like, it takes balls to have longevity, that's what it is. It's like knowing that you can go to prison at any time. And
At
then when
any time.
And then when you get out of prison, to have the balls to go back into the same industry that...
And you can't, you have to go back into it.
Right.
Because as an operator and a legacy folk, I can't go get a regular job. Look at my resume. Like, this is what I do. This is the only longevity that I have.
Yeah.
I got to feed my kids. So I have to find my pathway into this.
Yeah.
And a lot of breeders don't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, Sea Junkie does a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got a great following in Michigan. He gets his royalties.
That's good.
But at the end of the day, all that is take a cut from him. You can go to Ohio, sell the same thing, and he doesn't need to get his royalty anymore.
Right. Nice.
I mean, seed banks do that. So if they're doing it right, they'll buy it. Like my GG seeds only come from me. Mm-hmm. And there's a select few banks that will only buy them from me because they know that's giving back to my family. Right? Where, you know, you could go to Royal Queen and you could get the knockoff of everything. But those aren't going back to, like Milo passed away, the creator of cheese. Mm-hmm. There should be something for his family, right? There should be something for all these people that have done the hard work.
Right.
And being true to those genetics is important.
Right. It's like a guy who wrote a song in 1970 and his song keeps getting sampled and then he's getting no money when everyone's using his sound.
Right.
Interesting.
And that's what people don't realize in cannabis. They're all about the new peg, the new package, the new hype strain. What about the person behind that hype strain?
What about the guy who, like you said, put his life on the line to create this thing that we're all enjoying, that your mom is getting high to, and you know, after a long fight with your dad? Like, it helps the world so much, and it's so crazy that so many people went to jail for something that only helps the world. Like, and then you look at these other, I mean, we could just rant for hours. You look at the alcohol industry.
We've
Come on.
got 2 days. We're fine.
Well, you're the best interview I've ever had. So this is, and I just want to thank you so much for not only coming on, but for just being so transparent. Seriously.
I'm real.
Yeah.
I mean, some people love me, some people hate me. It is what it is.
It's getting harder and harder to find people like you these days.
So how do you like what you do?
I love it. I mean, I have an interesting background. I work in reality TV, so I work for, Talk about an industry. I don't want to get fired because there are some good reality shows, and I actually worked on the show Cooked with Cannabis on Netflix.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so every now and then, like every 2 shows I do is like good for the world, but then there's like, you know, the trash.
So my daughter's, I'm a dance mom.
Oh, cool.
So I'm a cannabis mom and then a dance mom.
Nice.
And I've always said that there needs to be like, not that dance mom reality, but like a dance moms in Minnesota.
Yes.
They're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they need cannabis. They really do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dance moms, like a cannabis related show, or just like a...
Yeah, me transitioning them from drinking, you know, wine all day to actually having a gummy and enjoying their daughter on stage.
Yes.
It's super important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, is my daughter better than your daughter? Like,
and I think that's why half the drama in the world is because of all these drugs that they're, you know, pounded with. Alcohol is a depressant.
Adderall.
Right.
Fucking no,
like my son has ADHD. He's autistic.
Yeah.
And he's all natural. You know, he's got his good days and his bad days, but he loves the CBD.
Yeah.
And he's got a strain named after him.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of friends go down some dark holes because of drugs, and weed was never one of those drugs, you know.
And that's another thing else, you know, is this industry, we're supposed to be about the plant. Mm-hmm. Get off the fucking meth. Get off the coke. You don't need to be doing lines in MJ Biz, guys. Come on.
People do that? People are doing blow at MJ Biz?
We need to travel. You need to come with me. Like, we don't need it. We could all get along so much better if we put the shit down, smoke the ganja, and have our peace pipe.
Exactly. Go back to the roots. Well,
Right.
do you like overall, let's just tie this up in a nice bow.
Okay.
Do you feel good about where the industry is in 2025? How optimistic are you about the future?
I feel great that people are not going to prison today. They still are. But I feel great that I can drive up here today with a shitload of stuff in my car, and if I get pulled over, I have a piece of paper that says I'm allowed to do that.
Yes.
I have a labeler license in Minnesota with the Department of Ag, so I can sell cannabis seeds. I have been selling cannabis seeds underground for so long that I can actually be me. So that's where I feel positive. I feel positive that we can have trade shows like this, and you can smell, ooh, that smells good. Like, as my son would say, smells like money, mama. He's 11, he's super cute. But
Nice.
that's what I'm proud of, but I'm not proud of all the arguing and running for the race, and I'm better than you. We're all in this together. If we want a community, let's make a community.
Yes.
Michigan's got a great community. You should go out there sometime.
I've heard.
It's a good community. They got great caregivers. They actually do it for the people.
Love it. I love
Yeah.
Michigan, and I wish the Lions won the Super Bowl this year. They deserve it. Those people, those are some good, hardworking motherfuckers, Well, thank you so much, Kat.
Yes.
This has been, like, hands down. It's all downhill from here. Keep being
Well,
yourself.
I'll come back.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Just come back and, like, just change your hair a little bit and then sit in this seat, and then we'll just, like, pretend you're someone
I can
else.
change. I have clothes for tonight
Yeah.
that I'll just change real quick.
Perfect.
And I'll get called Pat.
Yes, you'll be your alter
Perfect.
ego.
Yes.
That's great. It's going to work out. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Tune in. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you just dropped the mic. You just literally ethered this podcast. It's over. We know we don't need any
We are
more
done.
guests.